OTAs today with the cloud of Aaron Rodgers' dissatisfaction hanging over everything, coming off an MVP season with 3 years remaining on his contract, but the money making it more realistic for him to depart much sooner than that if he so chooses. And the football crew is ready to go today. Dominique Foxworth, Dan Orlovsky, and Dan Graziano, I start with you. Just to be clear so everyone understands, in any normal year, this is the day we would expect Aaron Rodgers to be on the field for the first time with his teammates, right?
Right. Well, look, these are voluntary workouts, as important to stress. But yes, historically, Rodgers has been there for this portion of the offseason program. And I do not expect him to be there today. If he's there today, I know what your show tomorrow is going to be about. That's for sure. But I would think we're going to have a situation here where Jordan Love, last year's first-round pick that has helped create some of this issue through no fault of his own, will be there taking the first-team reps with the offense. Remember, Jordan Love, last year, no preseason games. Rodgers took all the first-team snaps all season long. This is the first chance Jordan Love has had to run the Packers offense since last year's training camp. So whether he's going to end up being the starter or not, the Packers need to see something from him here in these next few weeks in terms of improvement and command.
All right, so there are two pieces of this that I think are fascinating. There's the Aaron Rodgers piece and the Jordan Love piece. Dan Orlovsky, let's start with the Aaron Rodgers piece. We were talking earlier this morning before we came on the air about what we may find out about exactly what it is Rodgers wants here in the relatively near future.
Well, Greeny, how bad do you really want out, right? And the name that I'll throw into this situation is Aaron Rodgers' agent, David Dunn. Dave Dunn from Athletes First, he was my football agent. His role is super important in this because over the past weeks, ever since this news broke, I'm sure he's been having conversations with football teams. And what happens if he goes back to Aaron Rodgers and says, hey, the only team that's really going to make an offer for a trade to the Green Bay Packers that they're going to actually entertain is the Las Vegas Raiders. Then don't you have to go to Aaron Rodgers and say, you better fix this relationship because you're not going to win a Super Bowl with the Raiders. And that's why the question of how bad do you really want out comes into play. Because Aaron Rodgers, if you want out more than anything, then you're likely going to get your choice. But what happens if you want out and also going to a contender and that contender isn't worthy of giving or isn't willing to give up all those picks? That's where the reality of the grass may not be greener comes into play for Aaron Rodgers.
All right, so we'll see how he chooses to play that. In the meantime, we get someone who gets a chance to play now, Dominique, for the first time. Jordan Love, how would you describe the significance of this opportunity for him?
I mean, my initial feeling was kind of downplay it. It's OTAs. It's no big deal. They just want guys to check in. But then I think about it, like, it's a big deal for Jordan Love. This is the first time that he's going to have any real pressure on him in an NFL game. Like Graziano said to start us, he didn't play in the preseason last year. He didn't even dress for the games in the regular season last year. So there was no pressure. There wasn't even the chance that if Aaron Rodgers got nicked up, he would get a snap in a regular season game. Right now, he's entering with more pressure. As ridiculous as it sounds, this is the most pressure that he's been under. And I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to be watching him to see how he deals with this. And that may determine what they do going forward as far as trying to bring in another quarterback or getting serious about moving Aaron Rodgers.
All right, so we've got those things on the table. Go ahead, Danny.
Well, I think the important point for Dom that he made was that he didn't dress for a game last year. But what happens if? Like, what happens if, and I know it's OTAs, and so people understand you're not in pads, but what happens if he goes out in balls? What happens if Jordan Love all of a sudden goes out to OTAs and he looks fantastic? He's doing the right thing with his feet. The ball's going to the right place. It's jumping off his hands. He's got complete command of the huddle. Like, what happens if he goes out there over the next month, takes full advantage, and it starts to make the Packers sit back and go, this kid has taken the jump that we wanted. Like, that is a real thing that happens in OTAs for young players.
Well, I think nothing happens because I think this is one of those situations where there's not much to gain, but there's a lot to lose. If he meets the bar, people are going to say, oh, it's just OTAs. Good job. Congratulations. If he falls under that, then there's going to be some concern. If he gets to where he's supposed to get, then we're going to be like, all right, let's see what he does in training camp. That's the next step. Let's see what he does in the preseason. Let's see what he does in the regular season.
All right, so for the first time this week, I will say, hold that thought. We will be back to it as age. And how about another superstar who knows about doing it at an advanced age? That's Tom Brady tweeting, "That's my quarterback, LFG, Phil Mickelson. I'll let you handle what the initials mean." Much more on Phil's big day as we continue. Meanwhile, to the game of the day from the NBA. Lakers, Suns, LeBron James. Game 1 against Chris Paul, his old companion. This is their first playoff matchup in their history. But early on, take a look at Chris Paul. Just watch the spot shadow. Down goes Paul. He's got a shoulder and it looks bad. Even LeBron over to check on him. He would go to the locker room. He would later return. Meanwhile, the theme of the day was Anthony Davis struggling. Davis just 5 of 16 from the floor. A minus 18 for the game. Finished with just 13 points. Again, couldn't get anything to fall yesterday, and that was a factor. Fourth quarter, Suns are up 11. Cameron Payne turning it over. LeBron James going in the other direction. The Lakers trying to make a comeback. They're within 9. Later, LeBron at the line. I want you to watch this sequence closely, as this time he is the one who's going to go down, and it's LeBron who is grabbing the shoulder. And then all mayhem would break loose. Take a close look here. I want you to watch. It's Payne and Alex Caruso as James misses. This is Caruso getting shoved. He doesn't like it. He gets up. He flips the ball away. Now they're drawing. Now here comes Montrezl Harrell from halfway across the floor. This would take a little while to get sorted out. Payne would get ejected, but in the end, this one would belong to Phoenix. Devin Booker, 34 points, 8 assists. Suns take game 1, 99-90, and all the talk after was about AD and a tough first day.
There's no way we're winning a game, let alone a series, with me playing the way I play. So, this was on me. I take full responsibility.
Anytime he comes to the pressure and tell you guys we can't win without him or with him playing the way he played, he always responds. So, looking forward to that. And when AD is AD, then we're the Lakers.
And look who has gotten up with us here. It's Jay Will, the Jay from KJZ on ESPN Radio, spending a few minutes with us. All right, Jay, so the Lakers minus 18 with AD on the floor yesterday. How would you describe your level of concern?
Here's what really bothers me, that and people out there who watch sports and athletes who play this game, you hear coaches talk about this, Greeny. When you're playing against a team like the Phoenix Suns, a young basketball team, you know what you do? You come out right away in the opening minutes of the game and you put your foot on their neck. You let them know it doesn't matter what you did throughout the regular season, you do not belong on the court with us. We are going to send a message right from the beginning that we are the better team and we defensively are going to dominate you. And here's one of the frustrations I have with Anthony Davis, as he is a top 5 talent in the league, because he is. A lot of the times, and we can say this as fans, that top 5 talent does not translate into him being a top 5 player. And last night was a prime example of it. I saw DeAndre Ayton dominate the game in ways that AD should dominate the game. Now I know he's owned this. I heard him at the post presser. I heard him say all the right things. But I want to see Anthony Davis be nasty. I want to see Anthony Davis with 16 rebounds. I want to see Anthony Davis with 42 points like he had the original meeting when they first played. These are the type of things when it comes to playoff basketball that you need to see AD right from the beginning. I know we potentially will see that in game 2, but this is a huge disappointment for the Lakers to start things off.
How about from LeBron, with his teammate not carrying the load? LeBron wasn't able to carry them to win either. What did you see from him in game 1 of the series?
I think LeBron James was trying to find his spots. He was trying to find his place. Obviously, with the CP3, with the shoulder, how is the soldier coming into this? I think there was a lot of other things happening as relates to health and safety protocol that I'm sure bogged LeBron James down before the game. I am not making excuses for LeBron James, but I'll tell you this. In order for the Lakers to actually beat the Suns, they need to shoot a lot better than 26% from the three-point line. And this will be a narrative that follows this team, Greeny. Their ability to space the floor and knock down shots. And also, can you play Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond together? You can't. These two cannot exist together. It clogs the lane for LeBron James to get to the rack. AD needs to be the 5, and they need to be ready to shoot the ball from the outside and knock down shots. If they're not, the Phoenix Suns are going to win this series.
All right, well, so that brings me to my concluding thought here. Our analytics, our BPI, Basketball Power Index, now favors Phoenix to win the series.
Nope.
Vegas still favors the Lakers.
Nope.
Which way are you going?
Nope. I'm going Lakers, man. CP3 with that stinger, I don't know what's going on with that. I still think the Lakers are the better team. Glad Phoenix got off to a head start, but the Lakers start knocking down threes and they defend the way they can, the Lakers will win this series. I say in 6, Greeny, in 6.
Okay, we'll see. They dropped game 1. We'll see where it goes from here. Jay Will back over to the radio. KJZ on ESPN Radio. Thank you, Jay.
My man.
Okay, and